Hi, with this video I would like to show you some very simple basic movements that you can do every day that will benefit you. These are some mobility movements. They can be implemented into your daily intentional activity. So if you are trying to be more mindful of moving your body or connecting your body, mind and body daily, these are some exercises you can do every day. They won't take much time at all. And I really encourage you not to treat it as a chore, but treat it as something that you know with consistency and daily practice, you can start minimizing some of the stiffness that you might have in your body. So these are moving the neck, shoulders, hips, knees, and toes. That's why we sing that song when we're a kid, I guess, and we forget to keep doing that. So with intention, focusing on what you're doing, the task at hand, that's building the mind to body, mind to movement, mind to muscle connection. Really important to start practicing that because there are benefits. We're finding greater and greater benefits. Increase in strength, cognitive response, more quicker cognitive response. Also, just the more that you understand your body, your brain understands what the toes are doing, you can advocate for yourself. You are the steward of your own body. This is a way to start familiarizing yourself with your body. It's a little bit of quiet relaxation time. So really lean outside of this is a chore, I have to do this, and just rushing through and not connecting, relaxing, and actually feeling what you're doing. Some of these movements may at first feel awkward. You may feel reduced range of motion, and you start with where you're at. And as time goes by and you're consistent, you can increase those ranges of motion and flexibility. We're going to start from the head and work our way to our toes. Few basic simple movements that you can do laying down, seated, or standing. Modified, so some of these I might be using a pole for a shoulder dislocate, but you don't need to do that. You could stick with shoulder rolls. So modify where you need to work for your benefit. So we're going to start with our neck, and one thing I'd like you to think about, some people have fused bones in the neck and upper shoulder, or a lot of arthritis, stiffness, and so they physically are forward and chin is tucked down. So this pulling the head up into a more upright position is physically limited, right? So it either hurts, you can't do it. So wherever you may have a limitation in your range of motion, work with what you have. Don't force yourself into a position because you think that's good form or good posture. But if you have a habit and those muscles have developed like a forward lean and you find yourself coming forward a lot, but you're able to pull yourself up and relax those shoulders down, bring the chin up and look forward, start there so you can start retraining the muscles to work in a truer range of motion for your body. So we're going to start with neck mobility, movement of the neck. You can always turn these into a stretch, but move first, then do your stretch and holds. Movement helps bring blood flow to your joints, your tendons, your muscles. It helps kind of grease those gears. There's a synovial fluid that gets into your joints, so I always say greasing the gears with synovial fluid. You can produce synovial fluid through movement, and that's what many people who wake up with morning stiffness from osteoarthritis find, that once they start moving their body, they feel less stiffness and pain, and that can be due to blood flow and just moving and loosening up the muscles and fascia, tendons, the things that support your joints, and then encouraging fluids like synovial fluid to get in there and do their job of greasing your gears. With the neck, we're going to start with our relaxed shoulders, chin up, and then we're going to do something called nose or looking to the left and right. So slow and controlled movements. keeping a relaxed shoulder, relaxed neck. You're going to look to the left and to the right in your range of motion. Avoid forcing a deeper movement than you're ready for. The first few side to side here may be stiff. And then as it loosens up, you might be able to increase that range of motion. And I recommend 5 to 10 of these, and then come back to center and looking up and down. So these are a yes. When I come down, I like to tuck my chin. I'm still trying to pack my shoulders down and remain relaxed in the upper part of my body. 5 to 10 of these. Keep a nice steady breath. You're going to look forward, and this is a hard one for me. Your shoulders are squared up, facing forward. You're going to take your ear and drop it towards your shoulder, and then gently come to the other side. Try to keep those shoulders aligned, and I probably don't do enough of these because I'm pretty stiff. You may feel these movements, like this goes all the way along my spine to between my shoulder blades. So depending on traumas that you've experienced in life, perhaps whiplash, broken shoulders, anything like that, you might feel a different response to some of these mobility exercises. It may feel like you're working those muscles, you can feel it, but there's no pain, right? We don't want sharpshooting pain. We don't want you kinking up to where you can't move your neck, and then inflammation, anything like that. That perhaps it was too much too soon if you experience any of that. So you always just start slow, start subtle. So 5 to 10 repetitions of each one of those exercises is a good one. And then the last one is a chin tuck. And trying to keep those shoulders squared up and the chin, just bring the chin up, look forward. You gotta press the chin out and then tuck it in. I've heard it called the ugly face. There might be some other terms that you're familiar. I call it the jive crow when I see a crow walking or a chicken and they're doing this with their head. I think of them just kind of grooving to some jazzy music. Slow and controlled, 5 to 10, and then find your neutral, your center. So those are a few very simple neck exercises you can do. You can do nose, yes, head tilts, and chin tucks. Shoulders. Starting out with shoulders, first thing I like to do is big shoulder rolls. We do this at the beginning of each fitness class. When I go in to do my strength training, I like to do, especially if it's an upper body day, 10 back, big circles, range of motion that works for you. I'm feeling what I call gristle, so a little bit of glurkin going on in there. It doesn't hurt. And so I just keep moving. And then forward, same thing, big shoulder rolls going forward. And 5 to 10. Once you bring those shoulders forward, try to take the shoulder blades, pack them into your back pocket and relax everything up here. And pull those shoulders up into shrugs. Shrug towards the ear and then press those shoulder blades down. Shoulder shrugs nice and controlled. 5 to 10 of a controlled speed, and then you can pick up that pace and kind of do a bounce with it. You'll feel some heat. That might be blood flow in there, right? If it's burning, it's working. All right, and then you can do big circles. So my palms are facing out. You can't see it. Thumbs are up, palms are facing out, and I'm doing big circles with my arms forward. And then when I go backward, I like to point the thumbs down and do big circles backward. Play around with it. This is movement of the shoulders, 5 to 10 of those. These exercises can be done In the morning, middle of the day, in the evening, once a day, twice a day, 3 times a day. Start building a routine that's going to work for you so you have this intentional, consistent movement. So now let's think about our elbows, wrists, hands. And so one thing I like to do is imagine holding on to a couple knobs and you're just turning those knobs, keeping the shoulders down, shoulders packed, and we're just turning and moving because our body is intended to move in this range of motion. Now, could you have more limited range of motion? Perhaps. Maybe you've had some rotator issues, some arthritis in the elbow. So you're just going to move where it feels comfortable and keep working there. Wrist curls going in one direction, reverse and going in the other direction, up and down, up and down, like you're revving some handlebars on a motorbike, and then flip it up and down like you're holding on to some sticks, drumsticks, moving those wrists, hands, squish and release, spread those fingers open, squeeze and release. I usually prompt to think about squishing water out of a sponge and then opening up your hands. That is kind of the sensation that you might be getting. And then you can do finger, thumbs up, pointer finger, middle finger, ring, pinky. Bring the fingers down into the palm. Okay, shake it out, flick those fingers. So we're working on just getting movement in the shoulders, the wrists, the fingers. Hips, lots of hips. I have a video on YouTube called Happy Hips. Those are mobility exercises. But if you are just using a full body mobility to wake up your body or to get moving, or you're practicing the intentional movement, let's just move in our range. We'll do flexion, extension, abduction, adduction, and a few rotations. So you might hold on to a chair if you're standing. If you're seated, it would be seated marches. If you're laying down, you could do straight leg raises or straight leg or a supine march. From a standing position, we're going to go up into flexion. And then we're just warming up the front of our hip. And you can do 5 or 10 of those. Now, if you're laying down, you might roll over onto your belly. If you're seated, so we're doing a hip extensor. If you're seated, it's a little difficult to demonstrate, but you're going to get yourself upright, come forward in your chair, feet planted firmly on the ground in front of you, and you're going to squeeze your glutes together and then release. Squeeze those glutes together and release, so that'll be working the hip extensor. Otherwise, if you're standing, you're going to do a straight leg kick back. Stay upright so that it's focusing more on the hip extensor. And you would do 5 to 10. Holding on is ideal. I'm really struggling to stay upright for you and not be wobbly because I chose not to grab onto a chair. But I will now, right here. Abduction, standing side leg lifts. If you're laying down in bed, you could lay on your side and lift your leg. If you're seated, you would just come forward in your chair and you might have a slight bend to your knee, but you would open and close that leg. And then you'd switch to the other side. And then adduction is bring that leg out and sweep it down and across your midline. And everything you're doing with that mind to body, mind to movement connection is where do you feel the muscles activating? How does it feel? And focus on that. And that is one way to start building the mind to body connection. Now with knees, what I am doing, I have my feet firmly planted on the floor. And I'm rolling out onto the out. So I'm keeping my feet planted, but I'm pushing my knees out and then bringing them in. I'm pushing them out and then bringing them in. With just, this really takes that concentration. Gentle movements of pressing out and in. My feet are still staying nice and planted as I'm doing this. So that's one way to get the knees. Another way to get the knees is by doing single leg balance, but allow yourself to wobble, right? Really get that wobble going. See how my knees moving? So that's a way to bring mobility to your knees. Ankles, seated, laying down, or standing. You can do circles, roll going one direction and then the other. You can bring your toes up and down, flex and relax. Let me step back a little. Right, 5 to 10 of each one there. And then toes. All you need is a sock, a cotton ball, something soft. You don't even need anything, okay? Wiggle your toes. Wiggle, 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 right? Watch the clock. 30 seconds, wiggle your toes. Or practice picking stuff up with your toes, okay? Cotton balls is a nice place to start. You standing or seated. If you throw 5 cotton balls down, set a bowl to one side, pick a cotton ball up, drop it into that bowl, and then keep going back and forth a few times. That's one way to get your toeability going. And then finally, we will do heel lifts, nice and controlled, 5 to 10, and then toe lifts. So those are a few ideas of how you can very simply and quickly add intentional movement into your daily habits and treat it as a habit, a positive thing for your body, getting the blood flow, getting some movement in the joint areas, reducing pain and discomfort rather than thinking of it as a chore. Because if you struggle right now to be consistent with physical activity, going for a walk, going and lifting weights, getting that heart rate, and the things that we're encouraged to do 3 to 5 times a week. If you struggle doing that at all, you've got to start somewhere. So let's start somewhere where it's attainable. If you can do these in bed before you get up, and that's what you do for the day of intentional movement, but you weren't doing that prior, that's a step in the right direction, and start there, because reward yourself every day you do that. Maybe the next step is, rather than doing it in the bed, get up and sit in the chair or stand. The more you get upright, the more you're going to, my body has to hold me up. There's other things that are into play. But you start where you need to start, get consistent, and then add on to that, and always celebrate intentional movement. Don't discredit yourself. Don't get down on yourself for saying you didn't do enough today. I know I get into that mode. If I didn't do as much as I thought I should, physically especially, I can get down on myself. But I have been retraining to think that, well, I did quite a bit today. I did my mobility exercises. I went for a 10-minute walk. I worked on, it's not just the physical, mind to body connectedness, being a steward of my own body. So what fuel I'm putting in there. There's a lot of ways to take care of your body, and it's best to start with attainable, doable activities. So I hope these give you that opportunity. Until next time, thank you for watching.